Hi, I'm Kristen Apple from Applepuncture, and today I'm going to show you 4 stretches for your 4 rotator cuff muscles. Before we get into those stretches, we're going to warm up a little bit. So I'm going to just take you through the whole thing. You can just kind of relax and enjoy the ride. If you're feeling like you're tight in your shoulders and your upper back and your neck and you're working at a desk, this is a great video for you. I'm going to show you how to do it just seated in a chair at a desk. That's where I am right now. Our shoulders are ball and socket joints, meaning, so joints are where the bones connect. And we have all different kinds of joints in our bodies. The ball and socket joint is a joint that involves one bone, in this case the scapula, that has a hollow called the fossa. Then we have another joint, in this case the humerus, that has a head that fits exquisitely well into the fossa. This joint has a great amount of mobility, the greatest amount of mobility. Our hips are also ball and socket joints, and so we can rotate more than other joints. You may notice other joints don't do that, right? So with these joints that are very mobile, we need some stability. The rotator cuff muscles stabilize these joints so that they don't just fly all over the place. They stabilize, they also help to lift the arm, they also abduct the arm, and then they also externally rotate the scapula. You have the supraspinatus, which lies right on top here. It's right underneath your trap or trapezius muscle. So when you feel those knots, you're probably feeling the supraspinatus and the trap. Okay, so that's one of the rotator cuff muscles. The next muscle is your infraspinatus. So this one is located, it's a broad, flat muscle located on top of your scapula. If you kind of find where your scapula is and then you push in right there, it's kind of an achy, deep bone level type of feeling. It's just lying right on the bone. The next one, very near to it, is your Teres Minor. And this one is located on the lateral border of your scapula. It's a very small muscle right on the edge there. You know, it kind of can get mixed up and confused with the lat, right? The last one is, I like this one, it is your Subscapularis, meaning it's sub underneath your scapula. So the way that we access it is, so rather than lying on top of the scapula from the back, like the infraspinatus, it's underneath on the other side. So how do we access it? Well, you go through your armpit. So if you go and dig into your armpit and you feel like, ooh, that is achy in there, you're probably feeling your subscap. That's what we say, subscap. We're talking about subscapularis. The lat is also a little bit involved over there as well. We're gonna start with warming these muscles up because we never want to stretch before our muscles are warm. If we do, we could actually create more strain, more tension, and possibly an injury, right? So the way I like to warm these muscles while sitting at a desk or standing, but today we're sitting, is just to do some broad, wide circles. If you have a smaller range of motion and you can only do this, that's really great. Whatever you're able to do is going to warm these muscles. So I like to do kind of like swimming movements, and you want to at least do like 20 seconds in each direction, and 20 seconds of each motion that I show you. All right, so let's now go the other direction. I'm gonna do a little bit of a shorter warming up, but when you're doing this on your own at your desk, you may want to do this, each of these longer, from a day-to-day basis or after work. You might notice that your breath is increasing. You may be able to breathe a little bit more. You're kind of opening up the rib cage. That's all really good. All right, and now let's do just one arm at a time going forward. Are you starting to feel a little bit of warmth or heat in your muscles? That's a good thing. And then let's go the other way. Remembering that if you don't have like a really large range of motion and you're just going like this, that's really good too. You're gonna still feel it. I still feel it when I'm doing this. All right, and let's do a little bit of this. You're also opening the chest muscles. So you're opening and warming a lot of muscles here, not just the rotator cuff. So this warming up is really good for your whole body, especially your upper back and neck. And let's just roll your shoulders. If your neck is tight, this is a really, these are also really good for just getting the neck to loosen up a little bit. And you definitely want to do this before you start like rolling out your neck. All right, so let's just take a moment there. Notice how you feel. You feel a little bit warm. Exhale. Let's start with infraspinatus. I love infraspinatus stretches. This is that broad, flat muscle on the scapula. If we're stretching our right side, let's start with the right. We're gonna put our hand on our hip, and we're gonna take our left hand and reach over to our shoulder. Now, for some of us, this is enough. That's like, you might feel it right there. If you can start inching your hand down toward your elbow as far as you can go, you might feel a little more stretch. But stop wherever you feel is enough, all right? I'm gonna go down to the elbow, and then you're gonna notice if your shoulders are starting to crunch. You wanna drop your shoulders, and then you're gonna start to pull forward with your elbow. And that's stretching this muscle here. It's pulling, it's stretching it out, lengthening it. If that's too much to pull forward with your hand all the way down here, you may wanna bring it up, but you wanna start to pull it forward. And it should feel like kind of achy. If it feels like it's causing you trouble breathing, like your breath is getting shorter, you might want to back off a little bit. And you want to continually drop your shoulders. All right, let's shake that one out and let's do the other side. So left hand on hip, right hand comes across, and you stay right here and pull forward, or you inch down a little bit and pull forward. If you can come down to your elbow and you're able to stretch that way, that's great. That's like as far as we're gonna go. So from the side, it looks like this. You start off like this, you inch your way down, and then you pull forward. And you notice if you're starting to raise your shoulders, and you drop your shoulders. And you breathe. It's very simple. Okay, let's do that once again on both sides. Hand on hip, left hand goes down to right elbow or mid arm, and you pull forward while you drop your shoulders. Exhaling, dropping the shoulders. And then lastly, the other side, left hand on hip. Notice if you're kind of like whipping your wrist around, try to keep this all kind of one unit here so that you're not like flopping around in your wrist, just kind of like stabilize right there in your wrist and pull forward. If you want to take it one step further, you can dip your head away from the shoulder that you're dropping. I mean, the shoulder that you should be dropping, that you are stretching. And then let's just do like a quick arm across kind of stretch. Yes, there you go. So that's infraspinatus. Let's move on to subscapularis. Love this one. Okay, remember, does anyone remember subscap meaning underneath the scapula? So if we're doing our right side, now this is where we get a little crazy. You may want to pause your video. I'm going to use a roll of wrapping paper because I still have them lying around. You're gonna find a sort of like pole-like object in your home, like a broom or something like that. and you're going to take the pole, let's say that we're doing our right side, and you're gonna hold it in front with your left hand, okay? Then you're going to take your right hand underneath and hold it from, front to back, so that your elbow is in front of the pole, okay? Then you're gonna take your left hand and you're gonna hold the pole underneath the right elbow, so that the pole is kind of hitting the outer side of your upper arm. And then you're gonna make sure you got a decent grip up here, and you're gonna start to pull, you're gonna start to pull with your left hand out, so that your right arm starts to dip to the side. Your elbow will be poking inward. And breathe. And you should feel a stretch in an interesting place underneath the scapula. Breathing. And the more you pull, make sure you got a decent grip, the more you're going to feel it, remembering to drop the shoulders. All right, let's do the other side. So if we're doing the other side, doing your left subscap, you're going to take your right hand, hold the pole up above your head, bring your left hand in front and grab the pole from the front to back. Your elbow is in front of the pole. You take your right hand underneath your elbow, holding really well with your left hand. You're going to start to tip outward. The pole should be about here on your arm. And you want to have about a 90-degree angle here. And then you pull with your right hand so that the pole pulls outward like that. And you're going to feel a stretch in your subscapularis, the muscle underneath your scapula, accessed through your armpit. If you want to take it a little further, you can let your neck, stretch your neck out by dipping your head away from the muscle that you're stretching. And breathe. Drop your shoulders. All right, let's do it once again on the other side. You're going to take your right hand in front, underneath, and then you're going to take your left hand under the elbow and tip outward. 90-degree angle if you can. And drop your shoulders and breathe. I know it sounds like a lot of instructions, but it will become second nature eventually. I recommend, taking at least 2 breaths. Let's do the other side. Right hand over, left hand under in front to grab the pole, right hand underneath the elbow, and then 90-degree angle and tip. Holding the pole and pulling from underneath. I recommend 2 breaths at least. All right. And then roll your shoulders out. Ooh, that's a deep stretch. While we have our pole in hand, let's do one more that involves the pole, and that will be for Teres Minor, okay? That's that little tiny muscle right on the lateral border of your scapula. So if we're gonna be stretching the left side, we're gonna take the pole with our right hand and bring it behind the head, like this. And then we're gonna take our left hand as though we're putting our hand behind our back in a handcuff position. Some of us are not able to do that, and that's okay. In this case, I would just skip this stretch. If you can only go as far as just turning your hand like this as though you're about to put it behind your back, that's a stretch for some people. So if you can go further, you're going to take the pole with your left hand, like so. And then you're going to, in your chair, if you're at your desk, just slightly tip forward. And you're going to feel the stretch. When you drop your shoulders, you're going to feel the stretch in your Teres Minor, like right over here. And you're going to breathe. and then we'll do the other side. So to do the other side, remember, you take your pole in your left hand, you're gonna bring it behind your head, and then you're gonna take your right hand as though you're gonna be put your hand into handcuffs. You'll grab the pole, and then you're going to tip forward again, and breathe. You may notice that one side is more of a stretch than the other. That's very normal, very common. I'm going to show you a more advanced version of this stretch for those of you who would like it. Let's stretch our left side again. You're going to take your right hand above your head and just kind of tap behind your shoulder here. You're going to take your left hand behind your back and try to clasp your fingers together, like so. And then you're going to drop your shoulder, especially the left shoulder, and you're going to tip forward from there. Now this is a really pretty deep stretch, so if you notice that it's too much, definitely don't push yourself. You can always build up to it eventually. And let's do the left side. Right side, we're going to be doing right teres. So you're going to lift your left arm up and drop it behind your head, and then you're going to grab your fingertips if you can reach. And it may, again, like for me, I'm a little bit, I guess I'm tighter on my right side here in this particular muscle. So it's a little harder to reach the fingers, but if you can get it, you got it. And then you're going to tip forward again and feel the stretch on your right teres minor. And bring to drop the shoulders. All right. We have one more stretch, and that's for this muscle supraspinatus. This is our simplest stretch. You're just going, if you have a very limited range of motion, a very simple stretch for the supraspinatus is simply to drop your head away from the shoulder you're stretching. And you're gonna feel a little bit of a stretch right here. If you wanna take it a little bit farther, you're gonna, again, put your right hand behind your back like you're about to put your hand in handcuff. You're gonna take your left hand and hold your right hand and sort of pull it. And you're gonna feel a stretch there. If you wanna take it a step further, you'll tip your head away from that shoulder and breathe. And remember to drop the shoulders. And let's do the other side. So you're gonna take your left hand behind, take your left hand behind your back, take your right hand to hold the left hand, and then you're gonna pull it over. This may be enough. You may just stay right here. If you can go further, you're gonna tip your head to the right, stretching out this left supraspinatus. If this is all way too much, then you just leave your hands in your lap, drop your shoulder, and if you're stretching your left supraspinatus, you're just gonna tip your head to the right and stretch out that side of your shoulder. Also, you're getting a nice neck stretch. And do it one more on each side. If you're doing your right side, your right hand comes behind, you take your left hand to pull your hand. You may stay right here, dropping the shoulders, feeling a gentle stretch, or tipping the head to the left. And then again, we'll stretch the left one. We're gonna take the left hand behind the back, take the right hand to pull that left hand over, and this may be enough, or you can tip your head to the right. And if that is all too much, remember you can just leave your hands in your lap and just tip your head to the side. Remembering to breathe as always. All right, so thank you very much for joining me for this rotator cuff muscle stretching video. Remember, you can do this anytime. You could do one muscle if you feel like that one was like, wow, that was really tight. You could do that stretch at any time in the day. Just remember to warm up a tiny bit before, and I hope it helps.